はいはいはい、こんばんにゃ。コミューショネコ隊隊長 VTuber と DJ リゲの DJ ゆきです。はい、こんばんにゃ。Hey Twitch. Darksider. Oh my god. Hey Darksider, how you doing? Oh yeah, I heard the gas. I did hear the gas settler by the way. While I was setting up. But how are you doing? So we finished what we finished Higurashi. Yeah, again. Oh my god, thank you for the creeper sound alert. Oh yeah, so today we will be starting the fourth chapter. Hey Daryl, how you doing? We will be starting the fourth chapter of Higurashi. We finished the third chapter, which was Higurashi when they cry, Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Himatsubushi-hen. So now, okay. Now we will be starting the fourth of the series. Higurashi when they cry, Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Himatsubushi-hen. Oh yeah. Just a little if you remember the last three, it was based on the events that happened during the festival, Watanagashi festival with my Barakechi. But this chapter 4 is a little bit different from that. We'll be focusing more on stuff in the past basically. So yeah. That's all I remember, but yeah. We will be starting mostly on this is going to be a little bit different from the other 3 Higurashis that we've been playing the last several years and several weeks. Oh yeah. So, yeah, we will get started. And for people watching on Yuki's YouTube channel, konnichiwa, konbannya. みんな、ゆきを、YouTube で、見てる人、おはにゃー、こんばんにゃー。Oh yeah, so we'll get started. Alright, let's get started. Hi! Start. Himatsubushi-hen. Himatsubushi. For you, the final mystery. I entrust you with all the mysteries hidden within Higurashi when they cry. However comical it may be, if you have reached any conjecture, then you have passed. This final novel is a merger reward for you. Conjecture's impossible. You have the right to reject the story. Who's the criminal, you ask? Don't we search for them in the story? Who's the criminal, you ask? Do you even know what criminal did? Who's the criminal? Who's the criminal who will kill me now? Frederica Burns Castle. Midsummer, 1985. I misread the time and ended up arriving too early. The schedule board flipped with a series of clacks. My flight to Sapporo was still a bit later on. I still had over an hour before boarding. Well, I might as well close my eyes for a bit on that bench over there then. I came here directly from work, so maybe the fatigue from that was making me sleepy. Finding a suitable bench, I put my luggage on the seat next to me and settled down. Phew. I sighed like an old man. I had hoped to stay young forever, but I had become splendidly middle-aged. Apparently the rumor that even people in the latter half of their 20s experience a decline in their physical strength wasn't a lie. Itai! Thank you for the Pokeball. I had been mind-numbingly busy at work lately. Oh, rarely had any time to myself. This might have been the first time I have been able to enjoy a journey alone like this since I was a student. The reason behind this trip was to meet an old friend. It's a bit strange to call him an old friend. In fact, it might be better to call him a bad one. After retiring a couple years ago, he moved to Sapporo, his mother's hometown. His mother passed away soon after, and he was peacefully enjoying his second lease on life. His name was Oishi Kurado. Oh, him. He's still in the story. Oishi Kurado. He was the former detective from the primary investigation unit at the station in Okinomiya Prefecture. To be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. After that, we exchanged New Year's cards, but never met again. So this would be the first time meeting him in 7 years. In other words, we met 7 years ago. In 1978. There's something I had to ask, to talk to him about concerning that time. To explain, it was impossible not to recall the incident that happened back then. That kidnapping, the details and resolution of which were resigned to darkness. Also, it was impossible not to recall a certain mysterious girl. My name is Akasaka Mamoru. It was a year that had been strangely hot, even though it was only June. Back in time, in early summer 1978. Goodbye, teacher! Okay, bye. Watch out for cars, and don't drop in at a friend's house along the way. Make sure you get your textbooks in order for tomorrow before you go to bed. The lively sounds of children running towards the hallway. Hey now, didn't I tell you before? I already have one of those. I don't need any more. The unique high-pitched voice of youth. The energetic shrill of the cicadas went completely unheard by their ears. Children, returning from their school, split off one by one from their group of friends as they went through intersections in the residential area. Even though there were several of them in the group as they left the school, as they got closer to their homes, the numbers dwindled. That's why the few friends you were walking home with acted as an indicator that you were that much closer to your destination. Later! See ya! Yeah, see you tomorrow! He finally parted ways with his last friend. A van was parked at a bend in the road. The window was open. The sound of a radio leaking outside. It must have been the news or something. For that reason, the three of them were arrested for traffic violations and obstruction of justice. Due to the protests against the Hinamizawa Dam project, resulting in bloodshed when clashing with riot police last month, things have only become more violent. The police are therefore taking precautions against radical activists, causing yet another incident. Last week, there was also direct confrontation with Minister Inugai on the steps of the Ministry of Construction. The boy's ears perked up at the mention of the name Inugai. At the moment, a man's face peeked out suddenly from the window of the van. His behavior was a little different than that of a man looking to see if there any incoming traffic before he opened the door of his vehicle. His eyes meeting suddenly with an unfamiliar man, the boy panicked slightly. Nightingale, okay? Scarlet, okay? We secured 2 blocks around us. We're good to go. The man in the passenger seat whispered quietly. Nodding in acknowledgement, the man opened the door and stood before the boy. You. Are you Inugai Toshiki-kun? While asking that, the man peered at the boy's name tag. Inugai Toshiki. The name was written plainly there. The phone rang for a third time. If he reached out, he could easily pick up the receiver. However, he was concerned that if he picked it up before it had finished ringing once, whoever was on the other end of the line would think of him as a fairly cheap person. That's why he normally never picked up the phone until the third ring. Even he thought it was all a worthless habit. However, he's thinking that there isn't much meaning in waiting for just 3 rings when waiting for 5 be alright was very much reality. His mind was filled with such trifling thoughts. He picked up the phone after the 3rd ring had finished. Its reverb dampened by his accent. Moshi moshi. Hi, moshi moshi. Moshi moshi. He knew that sometimes due to a malfunction at the switchboard, calls didn't connect well. At those times, it was best to hang out and let the person on the other end call again. Thinking that, the moment he began to hang up the phone, he sensed that he was definitely connected after all. He felt a presence of a person on the other end of the line, keeping silent. Moshi moshi. There was no way they didn't hear his question. What's the meaning of this? It wasn't like he didn't know that people could use silent calls to harass others. However, he never received a call like that until today. Maybe he was lucky before, but he didn't believe that he could receive such a phone call on this one. There's no direct calls to or from this line. Everything had to go through an operator. Therefore, there was absolutely no way the call could have been connected unless it was verified there was someone else on the other line of the line. That's why he didn't understand how to deal with the silent call. Instead, settled into confusion. I don't know who you are, but if you have nothing to say, I'm gonna hang up. Please call again some other time. And intending that to be the parting line, he made to slam down the receiver. It was at that moment the person on the other end spoke for the first time. You didn't say who you were, so I was anxious. You're not Minister Nagai. Please hang up right away. He couldn't help but be surprised by the extremely strange voice on the other end of the line. Was there a human alive who could speak with this hoarse voice and a tug voice? No. This was a voice he had heard somewhere before. That was the kind of voice that was on those lowbrow documentaries that they used when they wanted to hide the identity of the speaker, wasn't it? The voice he was hearing over the line was exactly like that. Who are you? As I said, that's what I want to ask. As I said, that's what I wanted to ask. Are you an external guy? He, Inugai, hesitated to answer. Unable to discern the intent of this suspicious phone call, he had a vague feeling something was off. He thought of hanging up the phone and asking the operator who initiated the call. However, he forced himself to restrain the surge, and for the time being, chose to state his name and listen. That's right. This isn't a guy. I said my name. Now say yours. My name doesn't matter. First of all, let's begin by thinking of the situation you're in right now. Right now, you're sitting in your chair, talking on your phone, yes? And why don't you try opening the lower drawer of your right? The lowest drawer on the right of the minister's chair. There's a lock on it. Not enough to function as a safe, but nevertheless it was a drawer that contained some valuable things. That's why the guy thought the person wanted some of the important information contained in the drawer. Sorry, but I don't have any intention to opening that. I have no reason to follow orders from someone who won't even give me his name. If you don't open that drawer, I will hang up the phone. You'll most likely end up regretting that. Why don't you think about opening up the drawer first? You guy did not like following orders from this suspicious person one bit. However, he was concerned that the man said about regretting it, so he decided to open the drawer. He took a small key. He kept it stored in his wallet and unlocked the drawer. His hand stopped right before he opened it. Well, what if there's a bomb inside? And would it explode if the door was open? That delusion took hold of him. He called an instinct and opened it. Did you do it? The thing that's in there. Do you know what it is? This is... What's the meaning of this? Hey! I don't think there's any need for me to explain, is there? I'll give you some time, so please think about it a little. I'll contact you again later. Now then, pardon me. Hey! Wait! Hello! Hello! The call already ended. What would not change no matter how he yelled at... That would not change no matter how much he yelled at it. Even still, the guy, without realizing it, continued yelling into the receiver for a while. The drawer was still open. On top of the folder crammed into the drawer, it lay there. I have a bad feeling I know what it is. Guy, Toshiki, I knew it! Written in plain lettering on a grade schooler's name tag. Just lying there. Enshrined there, completely out of place, as if it were cowering. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance of the actual persons or organizations is completely coincidental. Remember that. Do you remember Yukie? This picture. This is where I first proposed to you. That brief moment before you nodded back, you probably wouldn't know how much it seemed like an eternity to me. Yes, I would have never thought that moment of time could feel like an eternity. Compared to how long I'd wait for you to propose to me, it was from the moment I met you until today, compared to the time I've spent since I was born. It might only be a brief period, but they were definitely precious, beautiful days that deserve to be called an eternity. The time continues even now, from now on. I wonder if it'll be a boy, or maybe a girl. Either one is fine, boy or a girl. Either way, it is living proof that we love each other. If it was a boy, we'll name it after you, Mamoru. If it's a girl, we'll put the Yuki from my name in hers. Thinking about names is so fun that in the end we still haven't decided yet. There's still time to puzzle over it. Not that long of a time actually. You see, Yukie, there's something I have to apologize for today. It's my job. Sorry. Looks like a little bit annoying bit of work has come up. In the worst case, I might not be able to make it there for the delivery. It's fine. You have a very important job. What you do protects the way we live. Compared to, it's nothing. Please go ahead. When you return, I'll be waiting here with our child. Thank you. Also, I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. If you feel guilty about it, then you can just atone. If I atone that much, no matter how much money I have, it won't be enough. It's a joke. Now, go on. As I left the room, I bumped into an elderly old man. It was Yuki's father. In other words, my father-in-law. Father. I didn't want to intrude, so I waited in the hall. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard. Go. Yuki is that kind of girl. No matter what happens, she doesn't want to hold you back. I've forced Yuki to give up on so many things. To put her through this during childbirth, such an important time of her life, I'm ashamed. If you really feel that way, then you're done with your work. When you're done with your work, make some time for Yuki. She'll be happier with that than you passing your work off to someone else. Thank you. I know full well you do important work. Be proud of what you do. Yuki is looking forward to your triumphant return. Yes. Hi. I jumped into the taxi that was waiting outside. Compared to the time I first got there, the numbers on the fare had grown considerably. It seemed the modest time Yuki and I had spent together wasn't so modest from an objective point of view. Sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead. No worries. Well then, off we go. The taxi jerked as it changed gears to accelerate. Soon bearing the hospital my wife was in behind a throng of buildings. If it was to end up as a really troublesome ordeal, I probably wouldn't be returning for quite some time. To call me a rookie like me, and on top of that, one who's off duty, it seemed that the section chief was calling all hands on deck. The veteran upper brass gathering on an emergency basis happened occasionally. This is the first time, though, that I had experienced everyone gathering together like this. Whatever was happening, there's no doubt it was going to be something novel. Right when my wife was about ready to give birth. If I wanted to spend time to curse my misfortunes, I'd be here all day. Even the verdant ginkgo trees lighting the street I always find my moves seem to lack some of their usual luster. Eventually, the government office came to view. Holding my breath, I let the feelings of tension course through my body once again. I had to remember that the work I was doing was important, necessary, and difficult. I composed myself and sharpened my wit. Ready? The taxi stopped in the front of the building. Kasumigaseki, Tokyo. Metropolitan Police Department, Public Safety Division. Chief, everyone's here. Akasaka-kun, could you close the blinds? The blinds were closed when they needed to use the projector, or if the discussion was going to contain some particularly disturbing content. The blinds closed with a satisfying sound, darkening the interior of the room. Immediately, the inside of the room was completely drained of the pleasant morning atmosphere, leaving behind only the cloud illumination of the fluorescent lighting. After the supervisor ensured that everyone was present, he nodded to the section chief once again. With everyone on the edge of their seats, the chief stood solemnly and began to give his report. Approximately 48 hours ago, the Minister of Construction's grandson, who was also the son of one of the staff leaders, is believed to have been kidnapped. It is believed that the minister, in an effort to resolve matters amicably, chose not to report the situation to the police and plans to cede to the demands imposed upon him. It seems that approximately 48 hours earlier, the Minister of Construction's grandson and those of his senior staff members were kidnapped. The reason why it was phrased that way was because the person in question didn't admit it had happened. Based on the results of surveillance conducted on the minister's residence, multiple suspicious phone calls from what is believed to be outside the city took place. The abducted child is said to be under treatment for some illness, but there's no trace of any hospital records or witnesses to such effect. Due to that and various other reasons, we believe without a doubt that the kidnapping has occurred. Here, they omitted the details that brought this incident to light. If you think about it a bit, that meant that before this incident happened, the minister's residence had been under surveillance already. I won't use the word spied upon. Of course, there wouldn't have been any court approval for this, and then it would have been very hard to explain to ordinary citizens. However, it was quite an effective method to catch wind of incidents like this before they got worse. I'd like for you to understand that dealing with these cases before they become a problem is the job of the Public Safety Division. Why is he just following their demands instead of reporting needs to the police? The fact that the minister can't even trust the police? What's this world coming to? It seems that the group of perpetrators demonstrated that they have quite a high level of surveillance on the minister themselves when they conducted the kidnappings, enough to give the minister pause before calling the police. We'll find out right away if you call the cops, more or less. So, is it possible that there's a mole close to the minister? Some of the other ranking members who seem to have experience with this kind of thing let deep sighs. The cause of the perpetrators, their demands, as well as the entire incident are as of yet unclear. But in any case, the possibility that this may grow to threaten national interest is extremely high. If the goal is to simply have their demands met for monetary gain, that would have been nice. However, if this is some politically motivated shake-up, things would get a lot more complicated. Since we're not receiving any cooperation from the victim, That means that we're not privy to any of the details of the threats or demands. Due to the fact that we believe that there may be more involved in this incident, this investigation is likely classified. Only people in this room are to know of this. Furthermore, as this case is our utmost priority, we'll be placing a hold on everyone's normal duties. Understood? After that, the supervisor continued on, tactfully explaining our course of action. If this incident were to become public, it's possible that the minister's political life would be over. I'll spare you the explanation of how the rest of the dominoes would fall, but at the end, support in the diet would decline, followed by a no confidence vote in the snap election. It might even expand communist influences. In other words, if we wanted to handle this, we wanted to handle this delicately. Yeah. Kawasaki and Saiki monitor communications from the minister and the child's residence 24/7. Find out what the minister is doing. Report anything that happens. The remaining members investigate whatever is related to the case assigned to your units. Focus your line of investigation on the commies, raids, and contracts. Don't discount the possibility of foreign involvement either. We've experienced one or two unamicable situations before. This, however, was the first time I've ever seen things get so hectic. Several sophisticated conversations were progressing without the involvement of a rookie like me. I didn't intend to be timid. I couldn't hide my confusion at this unfamiliar situation. And cover that. As for Akasaka-kun, I snapped back to alertness upon hearing my name called. Yes! You investigate the environmental groups that have petitioned the minister. Among them, there's a group that's protesting the Hinamizawa Dam project that's made the papers. Make sure you investigate them thoroughly. I doubt this is an act of some citizen group, but we have to eliminate every possibility we can. Understood? So those who oppose the Hinamizawa Dam, it's probably the best if you go to the location personally. Get some information from the local authorities. They have a fairly radical organization, so the public safety division there should have them marked as well. Understood. I'll head over there. Your wife. She's almost ready to give birth, isn't she? I apologize for the timing of all of this, but I'm counting for cooperation. We can't take our time out with this, so we just have to brute force it with our boots on the ground. Yeah, I know. My wife hates to interfere with my work with her own circumstances anyways. Sorry, and thanks. So then, as for Kawasaki-kun and Saiki-kun, to help support your... I don't want to take a business trip when my wife was about to give birth. Even if it was a little busy, as long as I was in Tokyo, I would head to the hospital right away. On assignment though, it will be difficult. Even so, I knew the work I was doing was important, and fully understood that I was in no position to be selfish. I have to make it up for my wife for having to be away in such an important time. My wife, Yukie, would probably forgive me with a smile. The only thing she could hate doing would be holding me back. My male ego, though, at least wish she would have tried to stop me. Sorry, Yukie. I don't mind if you always complain to our child that their father couldn't come home to a hospital when they were born because he was too busy with work. The next day, I took the Shinkansen to Nagoya, and from there I transferred to the train to Prefecture. Getting to the destination by land took several hours. If I was traveling by air, in that amount of time, I could have probably get as far as Hong Kong. Prefecture was no means close. I never sat in first class except for work. But whenever I did, the seats seemed stiff. Closing my eyes, I mentally reviewed the documents I read yesterday. The group under investigation, the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. They're a group of residents opposed to the development proposed under the Namizawa Dam project. The local protests were heated and were getting more radicalized. Even limited to what was written in the newspapers, there's a lot of bloodshed occurring during a clash with the riot police. Interference with the dam construction, too many to count. The amount of petitions, sit-ins, and dark appeals to the relevant organizations were innumerable. As an extension of that, there's a direct appeal to the Minister of Construction the other day. This is the reason why we were investigating this group in the first place. The land that they were living on was going to be submerged, so it's no wonder they would go in a frenzy over it. Even given that though, could they really be capable of doing something like kidnapping the Minister of Construction's grandchild in order to abort the project? From my take on it, I had serious doubts. This kidnapping plot was extremely sophisticated and complicated enough that it was believed there was some political backing. This wasn't something that could be pulled off by some group or local protesters. Well, just like the chief said, the plan was to eliminate all possibilities. While I'm the police reference room, taking my time investigating, the higher ups in Tokyo would probably solve the case without my involvement entirely. Even if that was true, I couldn't regret being away from Tokyo while my wife was ready to give birth. This is work. There's really nothing that I could do. Ding dong. Announcement that we were arriving. Ding 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 ding. Announcement that we would be arriving at our destination soon snapped me back to wakefulness. Gogura Prefecture, Prefectural Police Safety, Public Safety Division. The Onigafuchi Defense Alliance? Yeah, they've been quite active around here. The Prefectural Safety Department already had documents and a cup of tea ready waiting for me. The short of it is, a group of residents opposed to the dam. Really. It's probably better to say that every resident living in the land that's going to be submerged is ready to action, though. Like the old saying, fight to the last. They are a determined and well-prepared lot. It'd be nice if they drew the line at just being a moderate residential organization. The stack of papers they prepared for me in the document room was by no means thin. At first, they were pretty much your average citizens initiative, but ever since the incident with the riot police, they've really started to heat up. Now they've gotten a violent mentality, on top of a increasingly radical. Violent organizations usually indicate ones that enforce their own ideology without regards to democratic progress. Yeah, breaking that down, many of these organizations held extreme left revolutionary ideologies. Considering that, I couldn't help but be surprised that a citizens group would be ending up going this far. Radical citizens movements happen occasionally. It seemed, however, that this group was nothing as trifling as that. It seemed that I would have to reconsider exactly what this Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was. The Defense Alliance's demand, in other words, the withdrawal of the dam project. How far would they go to have this amendment? The kidnapping of the minister's grandson was classified. The man, of course, I couldn't tell the prefectural department about either. As you know, they were arrested after last week's confrontation with Minister Yugai. There's enough reason to believe that they could be using illegal means to assert their demands. I skimmed over the list of criminal records related to the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance, recorded in the documents. The documents were all violent, without giving me the barest hint of a feeling that these people were trying to uphold the law. Could you give me a basic rundown of the types of legal activities the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance are engaging in? The chief opened up a manila envelope, fished out several unorganized sheets, and spread them out on the desk. It seems like that the raids on the construction site are most common. At first, they're committing relatively petty crimes like cutting power cords, jamming locks, and breaking office windows by throwing rocks. Of course, what really happened first were things like demonstrations, sit-ins, and distribution of pamphlets, lively but democratic forms of protest. However, then the demonstrators and the police clashed, which started a riot, leading to numerous injuries and arrests. It was from that then on the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance, like their name implies, began to take a more diminished form of resistance. If the raids were frequent, didn't the local police police up their patrols? Well, of course they were in full control, but they were up against locals, you know. There wasn't much the police could do if they were sneaking around under the cover of darkness. You might as well label the entire map of Hinamizawa Village around the dam construction site as enemy territory. No matter how alert the police were, the locals would just show them exactly how easy it was to sneak around. Actually, it was after the police upped security that the protesters started getting even more extreme, as though they were being provoked. See here, can you tell how things started to heat up? And hard, an office set on fire. The destruction of heavy construction equipment. Destruction? They could have used explosives. No way. You see, they crammed the gas tanks full of sugar cubes. If they do that, it fouls the engines. Even in Japan, it seemed that there had been people doing that to the vehicles occupying forces right after the war. Compared to misdemeanors like breaking windows, it was extremely violent and aggressive. After being toyed around with to that extent, the local police have completely lost face. The arson was a bit much. After that, the local police drastically increased the number of personnel they had stationed there around the clock. The raids on the construction site quieted down a bit after that. He used the words quieted down, but that was still smack dab in the middle of the list of crimes. See, after that day... Oh my god. Thank you. See, after that they found that attacking the side had become difficult. They started resorting to personal attacks. The first people they targeted were construction workers. After that, there's silence. What is being described to me was a guerrilla war fought in the jungle. Threats and violence against the workers. Harsh words and harsher rocks were thrown. There's quite a list of accusations here, but there aren't a lot of convictions. Of course not. First of all, there are no witnesses. On top of that, even if we identified the perpetrators, they have alibis coming up the woodwork. What do you mean by that? Take for example, you're walking around Hinamizawa. A third man stabs you with a knife. You remember the person clearly, and even know his name and address. However, the knife doesn't have any fingerprints on it, and there's no other physical evidence. Well, if you think about this middle of a run-of-the-mill case of assault, wouldn't you? In Hinamizawa, though, it's a perfect crime. Everyone is the entire village. They're all in on it. To protect the man who is the perpetrator, they'll get their story straight and prepare an alibi. To that end, they'll probably even forge some evidence. There's nothing they can do but put them on trial. On top of that, there not being any material evidence, though people testify one after another to cover his side of the story. Any prosecutor would hesitate to file charges. I'm not sure about murder, but if something like opening a gash on a bruise after hitting someone, even if you could single out the suspect, there's enough reasonable evidence to not convict. Every case is, without a doubt, perpetrated by someone in Hinamizawa. But they can't identify who. Even they could figure out who it is, they're unable to obtain circumstantial evidence to due process. The villagers were extremely well informed about this, and so the malicious, vicious, and tenacious personal attacks continued. The victims can't have been okay with it, right? Couldn't they have filed for appeal? Well, you see, about that, everybody on the inquest committee didn't want to get involved with something so troublesome. They won't stick their noses to anything related to Hinamizawa. The inquest committee is comprised of a random selection of local residents. In the event the prosecutor fails to get a conviction, they have the power to order retrial. It's a system designed to assert the will of the people on the actions of expert prosecutors in the legal world. In this case, however, being composed of local residents has backfired. They don't want to get involved? Why is that? How do I explain this? You could say they're afraid, since it's a little special there. Special? Is it an outcast community? No, it's a little different from that. Well, just think of them as being afraid. It's a little hard to explain just now, so... Alright, there's an easier way. Wiping this board with an handkerchief, you open a file labeled as a list of members of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. The power of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance, you see, is the fact that they could count many people among their members who are influential in their neighboring areas. Could you take a look at this? I looked. What I saw startled me. Prefectural and minister assembly members, staff members of the Chamber of Commerce, an executive at a business association, an executive of a town council association, and a PTA liaison. There are more than a few people with a lot to say locally and in the neighboring regions. Around here, you could pretty much expect your actions to be observed by those against the dam project. If you said something in its support, who knows how it worked out in your disadvantage. In any case, every town in this area is being held by the throat by someone in Hinamizawa. The list of the Inquisition Committee members is undisclosed, isn't it? There has to be some measures taken in place to make sure they avoid retribution, no? Well, it is undisclosed, so the privacy is absurd, but if the person in charge of that is from the Okinomiya Municipal Office, in other words, a local, you might as well expect some professional confidentiality. You can't know how everybody's connected. The people of Hinamizawa have a lot of tight bonds in that regard. When you consider the obligations and duties people have to the region, the level of information thereby form is nothing to scoff at. It's nothing uncommon for housewives in the neighborhood to know which kid from which house is what grade in what school, what subjects they were good at, and what vegetables they hated, among other things. You see, there's a Yakuza organization here with strong ties to Hinamizawa and the surrounding area. It would seem that they're providing full support in these recent incidents. They seem to be proving most effective. Gangsters? Siding together with residents opposed to the construction of the dam? It's a little hard to see what their common interest is. It's not that difficult at all. You see, actually, one of the lieutenants in that gang is originally from Hinamizawa. He was adopted into a rather influential family in the village. Exactly what was Hinamizawa? I had thought it was some kind of desolate, rustic village. However, for some reason, they exerted a strong influence on the surrounding areas and had a strong sense of the unity. They would protect their village by any means necessary, even if it meant resorting to violence. The chief had said that they were afraid because there were numerous influential people living here. But somehow, I got the feeling that they were afraid to use the village itself. There was something clearly different from what I read in the documents in Tokyo. This was no simple residential protest against the dam. For some reason, an uneasy feeling began to nest itself in the back of my hand. I chose the most basic way to ask my question. In other words, I directly asked what I wanted to know. Chief, this is just a hypothetical situation, but... Huh? This Onigafuchi Defense Village in order to halt the dam project. Do you think they could, say, threaten someone important to accomplish that? The chief replied immediately. It's possible. Truth be told, they've already gone to municipal and prefectural offices, as well as local offices of the Ministry of Construction, and done things that could have been frustrating. Constructors intimidating. Several of the workers' families have reported that they've been followed around somewhere by some suspicious people. Well, that one makes sense. To help the progress of the dam, they raided the construction site, destroying heavy machinery and lighting the construction office on fire. If they didn't have any qualms about doing that, the threats of violence against people related to the dam would probably be no problem. But it was. Even your everyday hoodlum could use threats and violence. However, this time it was the kidnapping of a high minister's grandson, an abnormally high-level crime. Not only was he pulling off the kidnapping difficult in the first place, but it was so maneuvering to have the not only was pulling off the kidnapping difficult in the first place, but so was maneuvering to have the ministers surrender to their demands immediately. There's no way this was the work of amateurs. Did these people have the power to enact this large of a crime? That was the heart of the matter. Was Onigafuchi's Defense Alliance an organization capable of pulling this off? In order to ask that question once again, I had to choose my most basic method. Again, hypothetically, do you think they could kidnap a relative of someone of political importance? There's no way they could pull off something that big. That was the answer I hoped for. If that was the answer, my work was as good as halfway done. I might as well get back in time for my wife to give birth. That's how it's supposed to be. The chief, without a hint of hesitation, replied. They just might. There's no telling how far they go. Sorry, okay. Seems like my work wouldn't end so simply after all. Oh, Akasaka-kun. Good work. How's the information gathering at the prefectural office? It's coming along. It seems I'll be able to meet with their local public safety department. I'm planning to head out that way. How's the investigation Tokyo going? The others are progressing along, but the number of groups we have to investigate are countless. Time isn't a luxury here. There's no new development at this time. No matter how suspicious the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was, it was if they solved the case in Tokyo. My job is done. I looked at my wishful thinking, hoping it wouldn't come to pass. Hanging up the phone, I let my gaze drift outside the window to the valley of unfamiliar things. Akasaka-san, a car you borrowed just returned. I'll take it to you, so follow me. Oh, thank you. He showed me the elevator to the underground parking lot where a battered sedan was waiting for me. that the steering wheel kept drifting to the left was a little concerning. But it would be enough to get me around for a little while. My destination was Shishibone City Prefecture, an area under the control of the Onigafuji Defense Alliance. The Okinomiya police station was an area under the control of the Onigafuji Defense Alliance. The Okinomiya police station was right on the front lines. Okinomiya Prefecture, Okinomiya Police Station. Shishibone City was, as far as provincial cities went, rather behind the times. Okinomiya, recessed in the mountains, was even more remote. With little change between the seasons, all that was left was a tepid passage of time. It made for a rather drab town. There's no tourist attractions or local delicacies. Without a strong regional industry, it was simply dull. Just looking at the monotonous and peaceful townscape, it was hard to catch a glimpse of the radical resistance of the Onigafuji Defense Alliance. The atmosphere of boredom didn't hint of the Okinomiya police station being on the front lines of the damn conflict, nor the numerous incidents that I heard about the prefectural headquarters. Good morning. Are you here to pay the fine? No, I have an appointment with Motodai-san from the Public Safety Division. Please tell him it's Akasaka. Ah! My apologies. Please wait a minute. The clerk, who thought I was here for a parking violation at first glance, after fumbling with the unfamiliar extension number, told the person on the line they had a visitor. Welcome. Akasaka-san, was it? Must have been tiring traveling out all this way. Sorry. We have to do this here. I tried to reserve a reception room, you see. But the consul suddenly woke up and chased me out. I would hesitate to call where we were conference room. It was small, very small and cluttered. The cramped space was packed with lockers, and I had an impression that there was more of a change room double as one for smoking. Listening to his crude chortles, I didn't get much of the feeling that Motodai, who was the head of the local public safety division, was much of an intellectual. But I knew that in exchange, he had both experience and absolute confidence in his instincts. I apologize for interrupting you in such a busy time. I'm Akasaka from the Metropolitan Police Department. Pleased to meet your acquaintance. Motodai from the Public Safety Division. Nice to meet ya. I was threatened by Sankai from the prefectural gangbusters to be generous with my cooperation. Wahaha. Gangbusters? You mean prefectural crime prevention division? You see, we're treating Onigafuji Defense Alliance as an extension of the local Yakuza. You have to be a newbie if you think they're just a residential protest group. Haha. They said at the prefectural office too that the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was the local mob. If I recall correctly, the adopted son of someone influential was a lieutenant in the gang. It's the other way around. The complete opposite. The Yakuza put up the protest group as a front to justify their actions. Just think of it like that. Completely the other way around. Ahaha. Motodai was just about rolling with laughter. This was slightly different than the info given to me at the prefectural office, but someone embedded locally could be knowledgeable. While we're talking, occasionally some people who seem to be detectives would come in and change. One of those individuals, noticing Motodai's guffaws, came up to us. What is she said? Oh yeah. I was wondering what you guys were talking about. No. Oh, Kura-chan. Perfect timing. Why don't you join us? This here is Inspector Akasaka, who came all the way here from the Tokyo Police Department. An inspector? I'm still a rookie. My name is Akasaka. Nice to meet you. It must be nice to be so frustrated. Did I hire you this year? I couldn't help to think that I was being ridiculed, so I responded with a forced smile. I could tell that this person was like Motodai, the type who had confidence in their instincts and experience. I really didn't like those types of people. Let me introduce you, Akasaka-san. This is Oishi-kun from our investigative department. Regarding the S-file you were asking about, he's familiar with it. S-file? S for Sonozaki. If something is on the S-file, it means it has something to do with the Sonozaki family. It's something of a code name. Sonozaki? Come to think of it, I remember when I was pouring over the documents at headquarters, there were quite a few people with the last name of Sonozaki popping up. If I remember right, there's a Sonozaki who is one of the executives of the Onigafuchi Alliance. I'm pretty sure that they're the treasurer. The two of them were surprised when I rattled off what post that Sonozaki held. At the moment, both of them erupted into laughter. Akasaka-san, was it? Ha. You're quite a studious one. Could it be you've memorized all the central figures in the Alliance? Ha. Oh my god. I couldn't say memorize exactly, but I at least read the list of Onigafuchi's Defense Alliance executives. Then you are the president and the vice president? The president is the mayor of Hinamizawa, Kei Kimiyoshi. The vice president is the priest of the local shrine Furude. The treasurer is O Sonozaki, the auditor of Makino. The liaison is Y Kimiyoshi. The PR head is Y Sonozaki. Akasaka-san, you're pretty good. The pay sucks, but would you want to work here? You're just the type we're looking for. By the way, Sonozaki Yoshio is the head of the youth division. So close. The head of public relations is actually Sonozaki Tadayoshi. Feeling like I was being complimented at all, I started settling into an uncomfortable mood. However, I was becoming more and more aware that I was the weakest link in this investigation, so I had to bear with it. I didn't mean for that feeling to show up in my face, but the crafty detectives didn't let that slip by. No, ha ha ha! I didn't mean to make fun of you. To make it up, why don't I show you around the village? For someone with no feel of the air like me, it would be a great help. I couldn't ask for more. In the end, Wanigafuchi Defense Alliance is nothing more than an alliance, an alias Hinamizawa was using to deal with the outside world. I think getting to know the village would speed up your work. How about it? The resident movement, in other words, held influence over the entire region. So the leader of the movement was the leader of that influence. Just like that, the thought process of the region would become the overall personality of the movement. Just like Oishi had said, in order to learn what they were really like, this original force behind the damn projects. And just like Oishi had said, in order to learn what they were really like, this original force behind the damn protest, getting to know the village was the quickest way. If you would, nothing back without skipping a beat. Oishi laughed in satisfaction, stood up. If I took the information I learned from the prefectural office and from Motorai into heart, the position was if my position was exposed, my personal safety was at risk. The opponent was an extremist group that had no qualms of using threats or violence against someone. If my personal info was leaked, it wouldn't be hard to believe that I'd be in danger, whether in the job or not. Thinking that, I felt a little nervous. These guys are quick to remember faces. If you're seen with me, they'll probably do a lot to hinder your work. This might be a little cliche, but put these on. Oishi handed me an incredibly suspicious disguise, comprised of a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a mask. I didn't want to get all hot and stuffy. Arigato nya, Alex D! Arigato nya. I didn't want to get all hot and stuffy, but Oishi's warning was probably right on the money. Considering that, I put them on with appreciation. It looked suspicious that Oishi had to smile rarely. How much did I tell you again? Let's see. To the part where you're talking about these three ancient families control the village. The Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was the same as the village of Hinamizawa itself, meaning there's a direct correlation between being in the executive at the alliance and being a leader in the village, as Motodai had told me a short while ago. village was ruled by 3 ancient families, then it would mean that the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was ruled by those 3 families. What did the documents at the prefecture office say about the leader of the Defense Alliance or whatnot? Documents I was using were classified. If I responded to Oishi's question, that would be a breach of security. However, most likely, this man, I judge, was more versed in this situation than any of the documents at the prefectural police office. So I decided to answer him. That be the president of the alliance. That the president of the alliance is the current mayor of the city, Kimiyoshi Kiichiro. Oishi, hearing that, upon hearing that, let out a small chuckle. For him to ask like that and to laugh at the answer as it was recorded in the documents meant that this wasn't the case in reality. So then, it means there's somebody else other than Kimiyoshi behind the scenes? Contrary to what the prefecture office thinks, or rather, what is commonly known. Never. Old man Kimiyoshi is nothing more than a figurehead. In the first place, the prefectural Kimiyoshi is nothing more than a figurehead. In the first place, the post of the mayor of the village is nothing more than ceremonial. In other words, there's something else in charge of both the alliance and the village. Would it be the 3 families we just talked about? Well, I'll explain that part right now. All of a sudden, there's a thunk. The car suddenly lurched. The paved road had given way to a gravel one, and at the same time, the scenery changed outside. Out the window changed. The Hinamizawa Dam project must be withdrawn. Overthrow the shameless puppet of a governor. The dam will submerge the natural beauty of Hinamizawa. Protect the village from the unethical dam. Fear the wrath of Oyashiro-sama squares. Demolish the dam. Those involved must go away. The construction office must respond. The office manager must negotiate with us. Signs and banners crowded the roadside. Even reading the brush-scrolled words was daunting. It was though where the road had changed was a border to a different country. At the moment, I was startled by the car suddenly braking. Looking ahead, a barricade had been erected. About 5 or 6 protesters, wearing masks and helmets to hide their faces, were blocking the road, yelling at us to angrily stop. What is this? A checkpoint? These guys never learn. Oishi snapped out as we called out a weapon. Wait. Hold on, sorry. Oishi snorted out as he rolled down the window and leaned out. What am I saying? Hey, you guys! You can't be blocking the world like this here. As Oishi glared at them with a malicious laugh, they visibly fluttered. Sir, don't worry. We can't get by like this. Who would have thought that it was Oishi's car? That panic thought seemed to make them lose their presence of mind. If we had noticed your car, Detective Oishi, we wouldn't have been so rude. Detective, what happened to your usual car? Is it in for maintenance? Something like that. I just can't get used to the car they loaned me. Judging by their brief conversation, I could guess they were familiar with the license plate of the car Oishi normally used. In other words, they knew the car belonged to the police, and they... In other words, if they knew the car belonged to the police, they would have hidden the barricade. What they're doing was obviously obstruction of traffic. A blatant crime. Who's the suspicious guy? You, could you show us your face? The man glared at me menacingly. Wearing a mask and sunglasses made me particularly dubious. The man glared at me menacingly. Wearing a mask and sunglasses made me look particularly dubious. Would not showing my face get me into some unnecessary trouble? I turned to Oishi to see what I should do. Give him a break. He's still a shy little rookie. We just wanted to make sure he wasn't anyone suspicious. Norizo has been in a lot of stare as of late. Ha! Have you looked at yourself in the mirror? That mask you were wearing is way more suspicious. Ha. The man and Oishi continued to talk like that, feigning smiles at one another. However, from the beginning to the end, I couldn't get over the feeling I was sitting on a powder keg. Has the number of trucks illegally dumping still not decreased? It's a real hassle dealing with all the time. If the police could understand and incorporate it, it would really help. During the conversation, a barricade was moved, leaving a gap wide enough for a single car to get through. Oishi lightly honked the horn once and began to roll the car forward. I could see the man's antagonistic glares. At the back of the car in the mirror. What was that just now? Blocking a road like that? Of course it's a crime. Still, if you get worked up over that, it'll never end. Those guys claim there's an infestation of trucks illegally dumping in the village. Their story goes that in order to stop that, they're halting suspicious vehicles for inspection. Illegal dumping? Like corrupt contractors just tossing industrial waste away? The line of argument is that if the police aren't going to do anything about it, they'll take their matters into their own hands. Well, the industrial waste is something they'd be doing by themselves anyways. By themselves? They have a pretty good strategy. You see, in order to hinder construction, they spread industrial waste over by the damn site. Then blaming it on corrupt contractors, they start instituting these inspections. They stop every construction vehicle coming through and interfere with them as such as possible. So then, is one of the methods the Onigafuchi defense is using? With that inspection just now, this car's license plate has probably been recorded. It shouldn't get stopped from here on out. those guys know very well that very well not to get me angry. Ha ha ha. With that instruction just now, the cars. Well, see the rumor if the rumor is that they figure that if they figure a car is related to the construction in some ways, not only would there be checkpoint stopping that it would not only would there be checkpoint stopping at every turn, but they would be throwing rocks and planting road spikes as well. It's best for you not to be it's best for you to be careful, so yeah. So you're not identified. If they find out you're from the public safety, who knows what you'll suffer through. Oishi was acting like we were talking about something fun. But for me, it was no laughing matter. It almost feels like we've wandered into a civil war in the Middle East. Ha 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 ha. That's a good way of putting it. It's pretty much just what you said. Oishi turned to me with a grin and a menacing laugh. You see, this here's a war zone. This car slowed down a bit as it went down a hill. A narrow road through the farmland. You see that house that's over the forest there? That antiquated one? Looking at where Oishi was pointing, it was certainly an old, traditionally designed house. That belongs to the mayor, Old Man Kiyoshi. You could say that belongs to their mainly. You could say that belongs to main Kiyoshi house as well. There's a lot of branches, but they'd be one of the three families. The three families? The ancient families that control Namizawa? That's right. One of those, and one of the others is the Furude family. Their house doesn't even have a single branch, as it is all that's left. As all that's left is the head priest family. Right over here, there's the shrine. He's the priest there. By the way, the Defense Alliance outpost office is in the grounds of that shrine. The office of Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. If these guys were the enemy, that would make this shrine their stronghold. Can we take a look over there? The shrine is a Furude. Can you take a look over there? The shrine is a Furude family private property, you see. Being pleased, we can't set foot there without a warrant. See, they've got a member of the shrine of the Furude family private property, you see. Being pleased, we can't just sit there with a foot. See, they've got a member of the diet with ties to the village backing them up. Basically, being the police has its strengths and weaknesses. Well, even when we talk about the three families, that's something from a long time ago. Way back when those three used to meaning it's different now? You got pretty good knowledge. That's what I expect from an academic. The more you hold, Except for now, you've got pretty good nose. That's what is good for. The car braked to a halt with a squeal. Ahead of where we stopped were several signs. Private property. Beyond. No trespassing. Beware of poisonous snakes. Danger. Turn back. Intruders will be charged with $1 million yen fine. Signs were erected there with things like that written on them. The road is separated from the forest by a chain link and wrapped around by a river. Since this is private property, this is as far as we can go. There's several surveillance cameras set up further within. Saying that we just got lost wouldn't work with these guys. They're beyond here, right? The people currently controlling Hinamizawa and the Onikafuchi Defense Alliance were neither the Kimiyoshi family nor the Furude family, but the last of the three. Yeah, beyond there was one of the three families, the Sonozaki family. They're the ones controlling Hinamizawa from the shadows. Among the list of executives recording in the documents, number of people with last names from the three families are quite high. Of course, Sonozaki was no exception. However, at the top was the Kimiyoshi family. If the Kimiyoshi family seemed to be in charge, the rulers behind the scenes were the Sonozaki family. The silver layer structure implicitly told me that this village had both a light and a dark side. The current head of the Sonozaki family is an old lady named Oryo. She's enough clout that you could call her Empress Sonozaki. Be careful, she's no small fry. She's enough of a VIP that even the mayor of the city has to bow before her. Well, in Hinamizawa and the surrounding area, their relatives amount to a block of several thousand votes. No politician could show disrespect for that. In other words, that would make her the actual leader of the Onikafuchi Defense Alliance, right? You've got it. Those words, Oishi pulled a well-worn cigarette box. The suspected kidnapping of the minister's grandchild and subsequent threats. Were these part of the hidden plot by the Onikafuchi Defense Alliance in order to have the Hinamizawa Dam project cancelled? You came all the way to Tokyo to investigate this, didn't you? Huh? Yeah. That's right. Something the matter? Then... Is this related to that direct appeal incident with Minister Nugai? If that's the case, then public safety has them marked on a watch list? Something like that? No, ha ha ha. Haven't you guessed that so quickly makes this easy? While exhaling out cigarette smoke, Oishi smiled broadly, like I'd pulled a good one on him. Or so I thought. His smile disappeared quickly. That's a lie, isn't it? Huh? I mean, the direct appeal putting them on a watch list. That's a lie, isn't it? Oishi knew there's no way that Tokyo HQ would dispatch an investigator over something as minor as a direct appeal. If they were to dispatch someone, it had to be more dire reason. He figured I was that much. I thought of myself as the type of person who doesn't let things show in their face. In front of his wonderful gaze, however, I felt that what I was thinking was completely laid bare. Oishi silently lit another cigarette, as if waiting for me to interject during the awkward pause. I see. So this is a veteran detective way of getting someone to spill information. But as long as I realize this, there's nothing more. If I didn't open my mouth, I wouldn't have to lose anything. All I had to do was stare out the window and enjoy the scenery until Oishi gave up. You're really bad at hiding things, you know. Being so young and earnest isn't so bad. Oishi-san smirked as if he twist out his third cigarette, while I was trying not to let him notice that I had deleted completely. At first, I thought I had one, but at the very least, Oishi had ascertained that I was hiding something, meaning that I might have ended up marching to his tune. Oishi started the engine once again and began to move the car. If you've just been honest with me, I thought I might have been able to help you. How would you help? If the cat's out of the bag, mice will catch someone. Catch some mice. Well, this depends on what you're talking about, but I might be able to set you up with someone who knows about the goings on in Hinamizawa. An informant? I see. Is that what you call it? Why are you interested in my case? Oishi-san. Well, I'm the same as you. Isn't our business to know things? Being able to meet with Oishi's informant was extremely compelling opportunity. We're looking forward to recruit someone familiar with the area to collaborate for intelligence. In the end, there's no better at the methods. In the end, there's no better method for finding people than asking. We are always taught, however, that rank and file police were no better than monkeys. Unlike us, they are careless with confidential cases. We looked down on them like they'd run their mouth off a drunken stupor. Oishi was an outlaw even amongst them, and here I was lost on whether or not I should tell them Oishi was an outlaw even amongst them, and here I was lost whether I should not tell them about the kidnapping of the minister's grandson. This informant, exactly how knowledgeable are they about the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance? If you were from public safety, you'd know, wouldn't you? Something like that is something I can't just tell you. Protect your sources. That's the first principle of dealing with confidential information. In that regard, it seems that Oishi-san wasn't one of those monkeys. Should I trust him? Ask him for his help or not? It's just that you work for the feds and I work for the prefecture. I don't think that our jobs are that different. I think I can be of help. However, I had trouble believing that this crafty old man would simply help me just like he claimed. I find it hard to believe that someone understanding would help me without strings attached. No, ha ha ha. Well, it's not like I'm completely without another alternative. As I recall, you guys have space in your budget allocation to pay informants, right? Something you don't need to submit a receipt for. Just a little bit of that would be the cost of meeting with the informant. In other words, give the compensation earmarked for the informant to you first. Well, it seems that the details of this area are so clear-cut. He certainly was something else for being able to brazenly state his ulterior motive. Rather than him doing this out of the kindness of his heart, everything has a lot clearer than he was expecting for this as clear that lot clearer if he was being compensated for the steal. I felt like that he was the type of man who was good at these backroom dealings. Don't understand me, please. It's not me who needs the money. It's the informant, okay? Regards to the payment. Well, in regards to the payment, I'll be handling the money. Well, when do you want to do that? When do you want that? Right now would be good. If you don't have it on you, tomorrow works well. I pulled out a wallet that was different from my personal one. The price was pretty fixed depending on what kind of information I was paying for. In that case, the payment was up front. Also considering the fact I didn't know what kind of info I would get, I shouldn't pay too much time. When I suggested, Oishi suddenly stretched out his hand and tightly grasped the contents of his wallet. At times like this, it's best you not be so stingy. It's alright. It won't go to waste. I understand. I won't be stingy. And what kind of information are you looking for? Depending on what, we might be able to probably change. You swear you wouldn't spread this information to anyone else. Oishi-san, I can't swear as much. I'm the same height as you. I can't withdraw information obtained during the course of my duties. Ha ha ha, I get it, I swear. Nothing here gets said anywhere else. I can pay back what I owe from my mahjong decks. In any case, I won't break a promise that involves money. I was so unsure if I should trust him until the very last moment, but at the end, I broke down. Oishi wasn't the type I could trust 100%, but there was no mistaking he had access to underground information networks. In order to accomplish my mission swiftly, I needed his cooperation. I set my resolve. I'm investigating whether or not Onigafuchi Defense Alliance is related to a certain incident. Certain incident? There's a possibility that the Minister of Construction, Inugai, is being coerced by someone. Certain that is possibly saying there's a possibility is kind of a roundabout way of putting it. It appears there's a mole close to the minister, and due to the mole, the minister had been monitored thoroughly, and was seemingly forced to cede their threats right away. None of this was reported to us or the police. Or see, why are you saying there's only a possibility that he's being coerced? In that case, isn't it a little strange? If the minister didn't report this to anyone, how did you guys know about this incident? If we didn't spy on the minister's private life, we would have never found out. I don't think I have to provide that information to the informant, so I'm admitting it. Oishi's son apparently caught on and quietly chuckled while I refused to explain. I see. This is probably close to the minister, so public safety made it a highly classified priority stream. So the public safety made it a highly classified investigation. That certainly isn't a very amicable story, isn't it? If it's a matter of public, not only would this affect the minister's political career, but the possibility that there's a shift in political landscape is extremely high. If the perpetrator's aim is indeed that, then this could develop to a very grave situation. Well, with the government having development projects all over the country, they've butted heads with quite a few people. I couldn't take much wrongdoing for the left-wing parties to suddenly garnish them apart. We're currently investigating what demands are being forced on the minister. But at least we have a good idea of how he's being threatened. How? The minister's grandson was kidnapped. They've denied it, but the judging room from when he was last seen it's believed that it's been over 72 hours since the kidnapping. So 3 days. If there was just some ransom money, this would have been settled by now. Maybe this isn't for monetary gain. The possibility that they're forcing the minister to do something politically is extremely high. That's something we just can't consent to. So then, one of Onigafuchi's... So then the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was listed as one of the possible perpetrators. That's correct. Kidnap the minister's grandson and demand cancellation of the dam project. What do you think, Oishi-san? The section chief at the regional office had responded immediately with, "It's possible." However, Oishi who was well informed about the matter, was him and Han. Oh. Finally, just a little bit, he said something that was just a little strange. This was before the merger era, you see. This area wasn't named Hinomizawa Village. Back then, it was called Onigafuchi. Nahaha, this is just what I heard from my grandmother. This topic was so completely and suddenly unrelated to the subject of the kidnapping of the minister's grandson that I was taken slightly aback. Onigafuchi? Oh, so that's why they called the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. You're sure the village of Onigafuchi was said to be inhabited by demons that devoured humans. Even now, it's believed that the blood of those demons partially courses through the veins of the villagers. Demons that devour humans? Oishi-san, what are you saying? It's information. I got a lot from you yesterday. A little too much. In exchange, I'm giving you a little freebie. Oishi-san finally smiled, but it didn't seem like he was fooling around. Please continue. You say the human-devoured demons? Normally, they were revered as Taoist transcendents and lived tucked away from the rest of the world. But they ate people after all, so apparently they go to villages and the foothills regularly and abduct their prey. They used to call that being demon away, or onikakushi. Demon away. That was the first time I heard such a particular phrase. However, I feel like something slightly ominous from this horrifying tale of demons abducting people in order to eat them. Look, you know there's a common phrase, spirited away. When people go missing one day, they call it that. When the same thing happens around here, they call it demon away. How does that old tale relate to the matter at hand? Oh no, there's no direct relationship. I was just making some small talk. It's just... The car shook. At some point, the gravel had changed to a paved one. It's just... Just what? It's just around here that phrase demon away is somewhat of a code for disappearances and kidnappings. I just thought I'd mention it. Yeah. I don't know if this has anything to do with the kidnapping of the minister's grandson. Well, there's no deep meaning behind it. It's just there's a little bit of history. Onikakushi, human-eating demons coming down to very... Onikakushi, human-eating demons coming down to the foothills and abducting the prey. And in order to capture the dam project, they threatened to submerge the village they lived in. Did they demon away the minister's grandson? They, in fact, had made... In order to... Yeah. Did they demon away the minister's grandson? Then they had already made an example out of the minister's grandson and eaten him alive? Ha 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 ha! Ha ha ha! It's a bit of an interesting old tale, isn't it? If you set foot in the demon's village without reason, you'll probably be captured and eaten alive, so don't go near Onigafuchi. Kids these days wouldn't have these superstitions, would they? Even amongst the older folk in Okinomiya born in the Meiji era, there's quite a few people who didn't heed those warnings. Minamizawa village was feared by the people in the area. I recalled that the Piece of information I heard from the Prefectural Police Safety Division. In any case, we're in the booties out here. It's kind of expected that there'd be some superstitions around. No, ha ha ha. Somebody in Tokyo like you, Akasaka-san, probably couldn't even begin to imagine it, could you? The man-eating demons, as the price for violating the sanctity of their village, kidnapped the minister's grandson and swallowed him whole. That ludicrous idea flew through my head. It was so absurd. I was half disgusted with myself. Oishi was just teasing me. Stupid. It was all really stupid. Come to think of it, by then, I may have already been seized by the curse of that dubious village. To realize that, it would take for a little more time. Okay. Finished the first chapter. Okay, let's go through all the tips. So we have 4 tips. Phone call with Yuki. Oh, really? It's tough when there's such an assignment. Please be careful. Where are you headed? You ready there? Whenever I headed out on assignment, she would ask where. Not just Yuki, but anyone would have asked the same question. If it was a cold place, she would urge me to pack a thick jacket. If it was far, she warned me to be careful on the drive over. It was just normal, everyday concern that led to such an obvious thing. I felt sad I couldn't answer such a run-of-the-mill question. Sorry, it's something I can't talk about, isn't it? It's something you can't talk about, isn't it? Please be careful. Sorry, Yukie. At some point, you started apologizing right away. Even though when you first started your job, you're all gung-ho about it. Yuki laughed as though she realized something. At times like this, Yuki had the magical power to see right through me. It's already been quite a while since I was admitted to the hospital. Are you finally getting lonely? Don't tease me. I'm too old to get lonely. Hey, oh really? You actually like to be doted on, don't you? Don't you start getting a little faint of heart when I'm not around? Oh jeez, I can see the little devil horns sprouting from your head right now. You've always been like this. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. If I don't play with you, you'll get all lonely. I can hear your tail wagging over the phone. The sight of Yuki wasn't something you could guess existed from seeing her usual modest behavior. It was something that she didn't show to anyone else but me. Normally, I poke her to hide my embarrassment and bring the end of the conversation, but I couldn't do that over the phone. Of course, Yuki was clever. She was teasing me because of that. I wonder when I figure out that giving you grief was so much fun. Give me a break. In that case, it's good to hear you're so lively. I know, right? Does that get... Did I cheer you up? Yeah. I had called Yuki to keep her from feeling lonely when she was by herself in the hospital room. Of course, that was nothing more than a pretense that I, being shy, had come up with. It seemed that Yuki had long since been seen through the act. Yeah. Please phone again. When I'm not feeling up for it, I'll get my father to talk to you. Although, if you're talking with my father, I get the feeling that you'd be standing at attention on the other side of the line. For a little while, Yuki kept teaching me without letting me end the call. Right. A record of the opening remarks. Chairman Beep! Members of Beep Party! Congratulations are due, as we are celebrating 25 years since our founding. These 25 years have seen such growth in Beep Prefecture. Of once quiet scenery of nothing but fields, now has seen the opening of a new stop for the bullet train for the Shinkansen. And with the development of the highway, we've seen the rebirth of a modern city, bursting with youthful energy. We reap the benefits of new business and industry, and with special reverence of the residents of Beep Prefecture have for time-honored traditions, history and culture, business and industry, and with these ideals in harmony, they have accomplished in growing their city into one of Japan's most foremost metropolises. Of course, the development of Beep Prefecture could not have happened without the growth of Beep Party. We are resolved to see every one of our campaign promises to fruition, reaching our targets definitely and expeditiously, like arrows fired from a bow. With these arrows as fundamental basis of Beep Party, our members have sought to pierce the obstructions preventing the happiness of the residents of Beep Prefecture. But I do believe that everyone here is unlike an ordinary arrow. While being as unfaltering and straightforward, we have not neglected in seeing solutions that conform to the current day and age, while also keeping an eye on the future. An arrow, once loosed, can only fly to its destination. Everyone here, however, is no simple arrow. Even once loosed from the arrow, without neglecting our studies, while employing new methods, and implementing more effective and flexible ideas, thus being able to change trajectories mid-flight. We are magical arrows. Magical. The modern age marches ever forward. Sometimes it marches faster than the time taken from planning to execution. The following part was not in the script. It was thought to have been ad-libbed by the minister. For example, there have recently been numerous problems with the Hinamizawa power plant project. Rather than forcing through the project slowly because it was decided upon the government, it was necessary to reflect on and adjust to the ever-changing needs of the residents, the region, and the next generations. The protest by the local residents that surround the Hinamizawa Dam, these are also the will of the people of the prefecture. If you feel there is no reason to listen because the project has already been finalized, then you do nothing more than shed a poor light on Japan's post-war democracy. The following is as per script. For the lasting happiness of the citizens of Japan and the residents of the prefecture, please consider these policies thoroughly. I believe, however, we have all gained something from flexibility and foresight of the pre-party. I've taken up much of your time. However, allow me to say the following to celebrate the 25th anniversary of our founding. Chairman Beep, members of the pre-party in attendance, thank you so much for today. For the opening remarks of pre-party prefectural forum and 25th anniversary celebration. Hi, tip number 3. Tears and fire. The world is filled with people blessed with relationships. Of course, that doesn't mean that that everyone is connected to each other. It's obvious that the other side of the planet, there are people laughing and crying who can't possibly have an effect on you. However, in the extremely limited community of the neighborhood, that sort of connection is just a matter of fact. It's quite possible that a single remarkable event could have massive consequences inside a small community. If you were to increase that in scale, a perfect stranger on the other side of the globe might become enough of a legend to have an effect on our lives. Well, it's not always like that way. Like I said at the beginning, the links between the people basically aren't that relevant in the grand scheme of things. Whether it's some household nearby is having steak or croquet, doesn't matter to me. When I put on my shoes, it doesn't matter to anybody whether I put the right one on the or first or the left. This much of an average person can understand. But in reality, this is the truth. The bonds between people are well defined. It's not a matter of distance, of being far or near. For example, let's say a person's A actions have some effect on me. Even then, person B's actions could have an absolutely no consequence in my life. The reverse is also holds true. Just because my actions affect person A doesn't always mean that they always affect person B as well. Let's put it bluntly. If the bonds between people are like gears in a machine, the gear represents me. The mesh represents my meshes with some people, but it isolation from others. There's some who would try arguing against this. Those people who bring up the example of gears in a clock. Each gear indeed only directly meshes with one or two others. However, if you rotate one gear, the one next to it is moved, which connects to the next one and the next. In the end, all gears are moving. There's a logic behind this, more than enough to convince the average person. Why is the argument convincing? The answer is simple, and can only be described conceptually. How the gears are connected and how their movements are chained together can't be used as a fundamental explanation, so it shows a wet blanket on the argument. So for the people who like to explain, I'll use an example of the clock to refute it. First of all, to say that this world is a singular clock would be wrong. That is, there isn't only one clock. There exist many clocks in this world, each counting their own time. If you think about it, the idea that this world is just one big clock is the height of arrogance. Even if you use the analogy of gears to explain human relationships, then you should be able to explain it using the analogy of multiple clocks, unrelated to a single gear. Neighbor saying B. A is the gear in the same clock as me, so it's best to remain civil. B is a gear in a different clock, so it doesn't really matter to me at all. That's the kind of clear distinction I'm talking about. You want to say that I'm being fallacious? Then let's change the analogy to something more familiar so you can understand. You probably heard the phrase, a fire on the opposite shore. Something in your life, no? For example, if your neighbor's house was on fire, you'd probably try to help put it out, wouldn't you? It'd be awful if the fire spread and burned down your house after all. But what if the fire was in town on the opposite side of the river? Would you still go out of your way to help? Wouldn't you? Even though it would be the wrong thing to do, there's no way that the fire would spread to your own house. Even if you turn it to a large conflagration, there's no relationship between the houses and that will spread fire to those and those that won't. With this example, you should be able to see the difference between gears that are and aren't for you. That aren't related to your own. Having said that, there are a lot of things to think about, even without a river to divide it. After all, it's not a spatial problem like being on the other side of the river, is it? What was that? Gears and fire and the taste of honey. Okay, the chick in the trunk. That's the last tip for this chapter. The car had stopped. But he didn't know any more than that. For not only was he blindfolded, but locked in the trunk of a car. How could people become this powerless just by being robbed of their sight? He absolutely wouldn't have known this without experiencing it firsthand. He soon realized it was pointless to try and undo his bonds with the confines of the trunk. Quickly became lightheaded. He had no choice but to let the smell tortured to all senses. That's why, when the car stopped and the unpleasant vibration ceased as the engine was killed, he couldn't stop but delude himself that he had been set free, even though nothing had been resolved in reality. Of course, he was soon removed from that delusion. He strained his ears when he heard one of the men who had abducted him and an older man he was hearing for the first time struck up a conversation. "Nice to see you. The chick is in the truck." He struggled so much that he's probably exhausted right now, but there's not a mark in him, just assorted. Oh, muscle in a handful. The truck opened, letting a blast of fresh, cool air. Even though it was open, and even though up until now he had been thinking about getting out of the strap-free trunk, when it was actually open, he suddenly became uneasy. Even so, he wished that the lid in the back of the back would be once again closed and separating himself from them. Suddenly, somebody stroked his head. Of course, since he was blindfolded, he couldn't tell if the hand was petting him or simply evaluating how easy it would be to remove his scalp. Unable to tell, all he could do was freeze as he imagined the worst case scenario. Poor little bugger. He's shaking. Just stay calm for a minute. The older man said that kindly as he gently stroked the boy's head. This must have been a real tough for you. But you see, your Gramps is a nice man. He'll help you soon enough. Having heard nothing but an average standard dialect his whole life. The older man's intonation left a deep impression of the boy, but he had no idea what he was saying. Let me see what that says in Japanese. uh, スタラン、あイソン、イソニの、増えとんね、おとなしく、おとなしく、しばらくすぎすがよかろう。ほんとにつらい本当につらい思いしちゃおうな。だんがな、おめのおふおそとちゃんは優しい人だね。すんぐに助けてくれるだろうな。Yeah, that's a weird accent. That's a weird dialect. I've not heard that dialect before. For your gramps to be registered as meaning your grandfather took a while to process. Eventually, the hand that was stroking his head loosened the blindfold. Can't keep his eyes covered. If he splits his face open, it would be bad. Hey! With that, we might as well take out that gag. Hey, Santoro, how are you doing? He can't breathe like that. It'd be trouble if he yells. Leave him to us. Geez, you guys do not know how to treat somebody. The main family said no rough stuff. You better remember that well. Yeah, we won't do anything stupid. As long as that creature cooperates, that is. That man's hand prodded roughly and repeatedly at the boy's head. A rugged hand, unlike the affectionate one that had been stroking his head before. Just stay cooperative. If you struggle, there's no guarantee what will happen. How are you doing, by the way, Santoro? That clenched threat was literally beaten into his head. Hi, that was the end of chapter 1. I can't believe that took that long. Of course, you're just like, Okay. Yay, hydrate. I'll do that in a bit after stream. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Whoops. Okay. Hi. I'll stretch. Okay. Ah! Okay, so yeah, let's go to Zatsudan. Hi. Hi! So, anyways, thank you for coming to Yuki's stream. Arigato nya. I guess you did. I guess you did see that. What do you call it? Yuki started to simulcast on YouTube also. Though the chat won't show up on the chat won't, or the I'll be able to, I will be able to see the chat on YouTube, but it won't be able to show up on the, what do you call it, on the chat logs on Twitch. I mean, what do you call it, the rules, or the guideline says that I can only have the, I think, yeah, I can only have the chat for Twitch up. I can't combine both chats. So that's how it is. But I will be able to see the chats for YouTube whenever I simulcast on YouTube. But yeah. Well, let's look at the schedule for the rest of this week. Cause this will also, I will also, what do you call it? There's also some stuff to explain with the simulcasting that I'm doing right now, because it's related to the schedule. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow Yuki will be doing a singing stream and a DJ stream. Yay! If you have any song suggestions for singing, let Yuki know. Or let Yuki know on Twitter or socials. But yeah, for that stream, it will only be on Twitch, not on YouTube. That won't be simulcast. I mean, it's usually Yuki will not archive the stream, that stream, for reasons. What do you call it? DCMA reasons. So yeah, that's also why Yuki doesn't want, or you won't stream that. Why Yuki won't be able to stream tomorrow's stream on YouTube. In general, Yuki, the streams Yuki won't be able to stream on YouTube are singing streams, DJ streams, and rhythm game streams. Those will remain Twitch only. Yeah. But yeah, tomorrow's stream, singing and DJ stream will be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, it's easier to, at least for Yuki, it's easier to do those streams on Twitch. There's if I do it on YouTube, there's a good possibility it will be what do you call it, stopped. Not by me, but by YouTube. So that's why I can only do it on Twitch. Those stuff, at least. That's how it is. Oh yeah. And then on Saturday, we'll continue. We'll continue. Higurashi. Himatsubushi-hen on Saturday. That will also be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. はい。明日の配信は、歌枠と DJ の配信や、Twitch だけ配信するにゃ。この配信は、10時日本時間。日曜日に、日暮らしのなく頃に、暇つぶし編を続くにゃ。この配信は、10時日本時間。Oh yeah. As of now, that's the plan. All of these are just, I have it set up now so I can stream on YouTube and on Twitch at the same time. But, and I will be able to see YouTube chat, but I won't be able to merge the chats. So it won't show up on the screen chat that we see there right now. At least I'm able to simulcast now. Just have to follow the guidelines for now. I mean, not for now, but have to follow the guidelines. Also, what do you call it? All of this, yeah, and then the streams Yuki won't be able to, like Yuki said, the streams Yuki won't be able to simulcast on YouTube are which will only be Twitch only, are the singing, anything music related, anything music related which can trigger DCMA. So stuff like singing streams and DJ streams and rhythm games. YouTube chop liver. Oh yeah, that's how it is. Oh yeah, at least Yuki can for most streams Yuki can simulcast, so people that don't use Twitch can watch Yuki now. Yay! That's why, yeah. So that's why Yuki's doing this. Because Yuki knows some people don't want to use Twitch, so that might cut the amount of people that can watch Yuki. So this gives y'all an opportunity to watch Yuki. Yay! Yatta! Oh yeah, that's for this week. That is the schedule for this week. The Wednesday stream and the Saturday stream for the DJ stream, or the singing stream and DJ stream. I think the plan will be from 9 p.m. to like 10 p.m. or so. 10:30, 10:15 p.m. something, I don't know. Yuki will do singing stream, and then at like 10:15 or 10, I don't know, Yuki will switch to DJ stream, which will be around 40-45 minutes. long. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Yuki has not DJ'd on stream in a while. Yuki did DJ like this past weekend, but Yuki has not DJ'd on stream in since last year. Since the Sword Art Online anniversary DJ stream. So yeah. I mean, this isn't this won't be Sword Art Online only, but yeah. Okay. Hi, so anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Thank you, Santoro. Thank you, Darksider. Thank you, Alex D. Thank you, Dorel. Yeah, I will not raid for today. No raiding for today. But yeah, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Arigato nya. Right, if you have not yet be sure to if you have not yet, be sure to follow Yuki on her socials. Alright, Yuki just got what you got, blue sky. So what does Yuki have right now? I mean, there's Twitch, Yuki. There's Twitter, which Yuki always updates. Everything else is like partially updated. There's there's Twitter, there's Instagram. Threads, Hive, VT Social, Tumblr, Blue Sky, Miski. I think that's everything. All of them are the account name is all Regan DJ Yuki. the same thing. So yeah, just follow Yuki on socials if you have not yet. And yeah, Yuki will try. Yuki will have more YouTube stuff. Or Yuki will continue simulcasting on YouTube also. Twitch YouTube simulcast. As long as it's not music streams. Which will remain Twitch only. Hi! So anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Arigato nya! Yuki hopes to see you tomorrow for singing in DJ stream. Please come, onegai. Nya. So anyways, gochu nya. Bye.